Fantasy season is here. The NFL has begun, and it is time, everybody. The Fantasy Couriers are proud to be partnered with Underdog Fantasy, the most amazing, greatest daily fantasy sports site. You might have done all their best ball games during the offseason. I have friends that did dozens and dozens and dozens and are still talking about them. Now we're in season, and it is time for Pick'em. You can pick player stats. You can pick highs or lows of various stats within a game. It is an exciting time. You can stack them. There are specials throughout the season that will make the game even more exciting. And to make things better, Underdog Fantasy has an exclusive offer for new customers. Claim your mystery pickup and get a 100% deposit match up to $100 now by signing up on Underdog using the code Couriers. Once you make that first deposit, head to the Pick'em lobby and find out which player special you get. If you're already a customer, share the code Couriers to support our amazing podcast so that we can continue to grow with Underdog and have a blast in season with you. Now, on to the show.
What is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Well, week one's down. It's time for week two. JJ Wang, are you feeling confident this week going in, or do you think week one's going to be one of those weird anomaly weeks where you got some confidence and then you just get kicked in the butt and next week sucks?
I think it starts leveling out a little bit, but I still think week two there's still going to be some rust. There's still going to be a struggle, but it's going to be clear. I'd have no idea. I mean, some of these guys are going to look great. And you're going to be all in, and then you're going to be completely wrong. You have to start all back over. So it's a crapshoot out there, man.
A total crapshoot. Like the waivers are processing they've processed. As I told everybody, we are recording sort of a different kind of pod this year. We're going to do Sunday nights, which will come out Monday mornings for you all, like the Sunday in review. Today we might briefly touch on anything. There's some big news on Monday night we'll touch up. Sunday there wasn't really a football game, and we'll lead you in, and we'll release this on Thursday. I'll have an open thing for questions over the weekend, and I'm hoping to do a Facebook Live this week at like noon Eastern time on Sunday, just for like 15 minutes to poo-poo around, because it's just fun to sit there and talk to myself. So hopefully somebody has some questions for me. But question for you. I got a couple. I'm going to name a couple guys that were waiver wire darlings this week. And I'm just curious, and I'm just using the trending up from Sleeper for anybody who's wondering. I'm going to use like the top 5 or so trending up guys from Sleeper. If you think they're worth having for the rest of the season, or if they are a total flash in the pan as we go in. So the number one guy here right now on my Sleeper app is Puka Nacua. You know I love him. He was my favorite rookie coming in this year. I'm sorry, he was my sleeper rookie that I got everywhere on all my dynasty teams, and he's making me look like a freaking genius. Or Cooper Kupp not playing like is making me look like a genius. Is Puka Nacua a flash in the pan, or could we have something here?
I think we got something here. I mean, the guy has 15 targets. There's not a whole lot there. Cooper Kupp is going to be gone for a few weeks, and Cooper Kupp is more the slot receiver. He plays on the inside, and Puka play most of his snaps on the outside, so they're not going to cross over. They need help. He's already been better than Van Jefferson has in his whole career.
Terrible.
So I mean, I think there could be some smoke to this, or fire smoke to this. I don't know how they say
or there's
it,
smoke, there's fire, right?
Yeah,
So
something like that.
Coming.
There may be some. Yeah, whatever. However that goes.
Ironically, lower down is not. I don't see Tutu as high up here. Does Tutu worry you any about Puka, or do you think Tutu, if you had to pick one of the two, which one's more of a flash? Tutu Atwell, who's smaller than me, which makes him smaller than Deuce Vaughn, or Puka Nacua, who's just a monster stud? I'm setting this up, right?
I think I would go with Puka here. I mean, he's obviously already had a better career than Tutu has. So
They've all had a career in a week.
that's the way that's where I'm going with that. So yeah, I'd pick.
Is Tutu rosterable? Would you roster Tutu if you had a spot?
Probably not.
Probably not. The next big thing was the J.K. Dobbins fallout. Justice Hill was the guy who is more waiver wire darling than Gus Edwards. I put my article that should come up on Fantasy Pros this week. We're talking about guys to sell high. And I forget who I wrote about. I believe that I wrote mine on Justice Hill, talking about the fact that everybody's like, oh, yeah, Justice Hill, he got 2 touchdowns. But if you look at what Justice Hill did, it was not efficient. It wasn't. It was a buy low, sell high, but I put on I did Drake London. I was gonna do him, but he wasn't efficient. He had what, 3? I'm trying to pull up the stats. I'm trying to do too many things at once. He scored 2 times, but what were his stats? Do you have them? Here we go.
Uh, you don't need to
8
be
rushing
efficient.
attempts. 8 rushing attempts is what he had, and he had a grand total of 9 yards.
Oh, that's nice.
So dude is averaging 1.1 per yard or so. He's the goal line back, so maybe he's a vulture. But that's my fear with Justice. I mean, he's still sitting on waivers in a league that we were talking about, a trade that went down in the league today. Justice, Gus Edwards, are you avoiding the situation? Or if you need a running back, who are you going to grab or what you going to do?
I mean, I'd probably go Gus Edwards. If I was to pick one, I'd go Gus Edwards, maybe because of the past history. They seem to like this guy a lot. And if he's healthy, I feel like he'd get the first shot. And I feel like they're still going to run the ball a lot. So I feel like one of them's going to be somewhat effective. It's going to be hard how to figure out which one. But I'd probably go Gus Edwards at this point, but I'm not excited about it by any stretch of the means.
I have 2 by default, RB2s. Oh my goodness, I got breaking news. Breaking
Oh.
news. DJ Dove's chickens have laid their first eggs ever. I just was sent the text by my daughter. Breaking news. This is big news. I've been waiting all since May. I'm so excited. I can't wait to my kids are gonna eat it before I get home.
You're gonna crack
Anyway,
that
so
thing open.
do what?
I'm gonna crack that thing open.
I'm not home. They're home. I'm recording from work. That's why if you're watching YouTube, it looks like a fall weather behind me because I can't put the Couriers thing at my work which is what happens in the fall last year. So the last two, then I got one flyer here. Joshua Kelly, Kyron Williams. As of today, both of those are the second running back on their team. Joshua Kelly might get some play this week. I wrote about him as a late round guy to start this week. I sent that one in today, thinking that even if Eckler is playing, might be limited with the ankle. But they both got lots of play. That it looks like that team is turning into what a running. Looked like the old Saints. In Los Angeles, we have Kyron Williams and Cam Akers. Cam Akers got more touches, but Kyron Williams was more efficient with 52 on 15. Cam, I think, had 20 for like 39 or something like that. I got Kyron Williams stats up. But Kyron got 2 touchdowns. Is he going to take over? Are they going to split? Was it an anomaly? What are we doing so basically more of the gist is, what are we doing with Kyron Williams and Joshua Kelly?
I think Joshua Kelly, there's more of a positive here. I don't think they want to give Austin Eckler that full rushing workload, even though he did look good this past weekend. I mean, he ran the ball more than
They
I
look
expected.
stellar. Both those guys look
But
amazing.
as the season goes on, I think Kelly will be getting involved more, and he looked really good. He looked good in the preseason, but can't take much by that. And then that kind of showed over in that first game. He looked really good. And as far as the Rams go, on the positive here, the fact that there was that many rushing attempts from both of these guys, that could mean a positive for both of these guys. I mean, if Kyle Williams is getting 15 carries, I mean, that's what more can you ask for? And if Cam Akers is getting 15 to 20 carries, what more can you ask for? That's kind of what you wanted.
Yeah.
So, so obvious, but as they got to score touchdowns, right? I thought that's what's going. How efficient is that offense going to be to give them opportunities to score touchdowns? Because if they're not scoring touchdowns, it's going to be hard. And I don't know how good that offense really is yet.
You did say something that's key for me that I look for when you're looking for guys. Yeah, touchdowns. You never know with touchdowns. There might be some guys that you'll see hit a streak through the season, but you were talking touches. Touches and targets are my 2 key components I look for. Like, I would roster both guys if possible if you have a spot. But touches, if you see a guy getting touches, you can't score without touches, right? You can't. If the quarterback's not throwing you targets, you can't get catches. Like Zach Ertz this week, extremely inefficient. But I forget the number. I was looking at him earlier. The number of targets that Zach Ertz had was ridiculous. I think he had 6 catches for like 30 yards or something ridiculous like that. I'm probably off on that stat line, but he had a boat ton of targets. So targets mean the ball's coming.
Yep.
I watch targets almost more than receptions, because if you have 2 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown fluky one week, that's just dumb luck. 2 for 2. But if you have 7 and you get the 2, it's a jump
Yeah,
up.
I mean, targets is the main number here, and like I said, got to have opportunity to perform, and I think all three of these guys are going to have opportunities. I don't know if I could start Kyron Williams. I'm not that confident. I think Josh Kelly you could possibly start as a flex, and Cam Akers as your RB2 at the moment, but slip into the flex spot if he doesn't perform much better in week 2. But I mean, yeah, at this point they all got to be Ross full of running backs.
Okay, and the last one real quick. It's a guy I picked up in a couple places. I was at work the other day. The PE teacher came up to me, goes, "Yeah, who's this running back for the Patriots? Kendrick Bourne." I'm like, "Dude, he's a wide receiver. Like he's more of a he does the gambling side of the NFL and whatnot." But I was like, "Man, yeah, because he had what, 2 touchdowns, 6 receptions on 11 targets, so 11 targets for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns." Is Kendrick Bourne going to be something this year in his age 28 season?
I mean, maybe if you expect Mac Jones to be something, I mean, that's kind of
QB3,
where it's at,
baby.
right? So, I mean, if Mac three's performing and this offense is performing, now that they got an offensive coordinator, somebody that's that can run an offense, maybe Mac Jones is a little happier. Maybe that makes him a little better, and in turn, if your quarterback's better, everybody else is better most of the time, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Kendrick Bourne can be effective if Mac Jones is effective.
We'll see how that pans out. So Wednesday, we also take a couple of listener questions. I post stuff on Facebook. If you want to get your name called out on the Fantasy Couriers for all of our listener, you can call in. You can send us a message, send us an email, or pop it on here. Call in. I don't mean call in. It sounded good to say. I have 2 questions this week because I popped it up late. So it's apologies on my side. I'll get the rest later on. Jeff M. out of Virginia. He might have been on our show before. I might have talked to him last night. Asks Jamal Williams or Antonio Gibson. We'll just assume everything unless we're told differently. Half point PPR, standard half point PPR kind of scoring. And which guy would you play?
Well, considering the way Antonio Gibson played,
Mm.
I mean, I would stay away from him as far as possible. He did get that fumble and didn't come back in. Brian Robinson got a lot of the work. Jamal Williams, like it's Jamal Williams. He's got to be scoring touchdowns, but I'd it's a desperate situation. As much as I hate to say it, I'd probably go Jamal Williams there. If the
I don't think it's
Anthony,
close. I think it's close. I
yeah,
think it's
yeah,
Jamal
no,
Williams by a mile because he got touches and touches and touches on a team. He's for the next 2 weeks. It's Jamal Williams. Then you got to figure out what Kamara's role is going to be. What Williams, when Kendrick Miller is healthy, all that kind of stuff. Right now, I mean, it looks like they're leaning on Brian Robinson. Antonio Gibson. They forgot he played. Did he
he
fumble?
fumbled and then they took him out and never
They
got back in there.
so he might maybe he'll get some more play, but I think Jeff's big problem is he is a Manderhead, so he's rooting for his Manders and he wants to have them do some successful.
I
So
mean, I am right there with you, Jeff. I'm rooting for him this year too. I
your
need
favorite team?
some positive vibes down there.
So our boy Steve, he's in Steven F. He's in Dynasty Diamonds with us actually. In another league, he's asking, should I trade Josh Allen? He has
Oh,
Watson and Herbert on his bench. Good golly, Miss Molly. He has O'Connell stash when Wonder Boy goes down. So your favorite player. It's an 8-team dynasty league.
or I love the O'Connell stash. I mean, the fact that there's an O'Connell stash in an 8-team dynasty league is amazing. By the way,
I wonder if
yeah,
it's 2 quarterbacks. That's my curious.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo had a possible concussion in that game. Came out for a second, maybe went back. I'm not really sure how that worked out, but it's already started. I mean, O'Connell's going to play by the end of the season. So yeah, I think it's a definite stash. And as far as trading Josh Allen, I mean, I'd trade one of them. I mean, I'm sure like you don't need all of them, but if I was going to trade one, probably won't get much for Watson, Herbert. I really wouldn't trade him, and yeah, I'd be sure. I mean, I could see a world where you trade him in that league at least.
I'd trade Allen if you get. I would put out something for all 3 to the same person
That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and just vary what you get. So I mean, if you can get, I would, you're not getting the same for Watson, and Herbert, this year maybe Herbert's numbers are gonna be
I
down
mean,
if they're gonna rush like that. I
I
love
mean, if
Herbert, but
I mean, you got a starting caliber quarterback like that, point setting on the bench. You can transition those points on the bench to points in your starting lineup by getting elite players in other positions.
yeah, 100%. So yeah, sad. I'd see where you're weak and build up from there would be my guess. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick wrap to finish out the show. We're gonna do a week 2 rundown. Gonna mention starting out with a couple of injuries and then just go through a couple games. I'll ask JJ Wang some questions. He said I'll toss them up. He shoots them. It's like a good old classic. Isn't that what you said when you started?
Alley-oop or
What?
alley-oop. You toss it up.
Ooh,
I
you want me to
catch it,
alley oop? Yeah,
alley-oop.
I was thinking
I mean,
ski
I guess
shooting.
that's. I
Maybe I'll
mean,
throw the pitch and you pop it.
if you're tossing it up, I don't know what else I can do with it at that point.
Ski
Maybe
shooting.
knock. I can knock it out the park if you
I'll
toss
launch
it.
it. So
Yeah.
we've avoided the big news of the week until this far into the show. Aaron Rodgers' career done.
I mean, I don't know if it's.
Achilles. It's Achilles. Remember, Achilles is the worst thing in
Uh,
the world. He's old too.
but yeah, it is an
He never
Achilles, but
ran though.
he's not a running back. He doesn't run. He passes the ball. I mean, I'm no doctor, but I'm sure an Achilles at that age isn't good. But it's unfortunate, man. For the first time in 19 years, I was finally on the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon, and this is how it turns out. It's really unfortunate. Hurts Garrett Wilson, obviously. Zach, what we all know, we all feel about Zach
That was my
Wilson.
question.
We're
You
not
rostering
excited.
Zach Wilson now?
I mean, you got to roster him. He's a starting quarterback in the NFL. So, I mean, if you're in a super flex league, you're desperate. Like, I would definitely start him. But yeah, I mean, it's Zach Wilson. Though, what are you really expecting out of Zach Wilson?
I don't know. I got offered him recently, and I just couldn't take it. Like I think he's that terrible.
I mean, it's. I felt. I mean, I got
The cost
offered
wasn't
him.
bad.
I got offered him as well, and I felt kind of dirty about it, but I was kind of intrigued a little bit
Yeah, it's probably
because
the same trade.
I mean, if you go by that what if factor, right? That's why I tell my daughter always, like, what if? What if you do this? What if Zach Wilson is good? You look like a daggone genius, but
And
nobody
if not,
expects Zach Wilson to look good. But we try to stay away from that. What if? I guess.
yeah, it's a big what if. Deontay Johnson, my PPR machine loving receiver, is out. I think it's 4 weeks. So you're looking at Pickens, you're looking at Allen Robinson. People have Pickens. Robinson's out there. Does that make Robinson a viable possibility? I mean, I'm assuming they're not playing the 49ers all 17 weeks, so they can't be worse.
That is true. It is unfortunate. So I guess you could probably throw Calvin Austin in there as well. I
Okay,
don't
yeah.
know how much they're going to throw. But I
Hopefully
mean,
not a lot.
he seems to be like a target, like that short, the intermediate range guy. You can get 6 catches for 30 yards, here and there. I mean, it helps out a little bit, but yeah, until further notice, I don't know if you can. I don't think you can trust George Pickens at all right now. I don't even know if you can start him. That's how the confidence low is on that. I'd like to see this offense perform something before I go jumping into it full blown. But I think Allen Robinson may be the safest. I mean,
Uh,
that's hard to believe,
I got some
but I
Robinson
think he
shares.
may be.
I got some Robinson shares. And also just going into the week, man, Josh Allen, he kicked me in the butt this week.
Oh
Anyway,
man, yeah,
you're an Allen guy.
that was. I love me some Josh Allen. That was dreadful, but he's going down the route of being a turnover machine here. He needs to get that fixed. I mean, it spiral quick.
It cost my best team a win. And I was like, Mac Jones, greater than Josh. I had like 3 guys that would have been greater than Josh Allen, like Mac and Baker, greater than Josh Allen. I was like, ooh, that makes me want to puke a little bit saying that.
It does, but
As and an injury that leads to a smile on JJ Wang's face, not because of the injury, because of what's going to happen. Adam Troutman is the only tight end really left standing in Denver, meaning he's probably a startable tight end in this tight end desert.
finally the time has come. I think we can celebrate the greatness of Adam Troutman. I've been waiting like 4 years now. Yeah, he's the only option left there. So, like I said, Russell Wilson, I don't know how good he's going to be playing. He didn't throw for a lot of yards. And then when Judy comes back, how many more yards are there going to be? But heck yeah, in the world of tight ends, Adam Troutman, fire him up.
This is going to come out before the uh it'll come out before the game, but real quickly we're jumping into the games. Thursday nights, the Vikings and the Eagles. I'm not gonna go a lot because we'll look either really stupid or really smart, and usually really stupid. So real quick question for you. Kenneth Gainwell is actually gonna be out this week. Let's make a prediction for people to hear before and after. Is this finally Swift because he is Swift and has to? He's gonna be good this week, right? It's at
No,
home
I
versus
thought
the
I
Vikings.
thought you were going to go. We finally get to see the debut of Rashad Penny
He's
and
gonna
watch
play,
him.
I'm sure. He's got to play, right?
if he didn't play last week because of Gainville was yeah,
Gainesville.
Gainwell. I said Gainesville because of Gainwell. I mean, if he's not playing, they gotta suit him up. So I thought you were going to go Rashad Penny. I can't trust Swift at all. If he's not,
I don't either, but
so yeah, I'm not starting Swift. But I mean, if Penny plays, might give it a look.
I got some Penny, and then I might have to start Swift in the league too. But I think it's Thursday night.
I'm
I hate
pretty
Thursday
sure
night games.
I'm pretty sure I got to start Swift somewhere. It's unfortunate. Hopefully, I don't
I
have
think I
to.
started him
But
last week too. Yeah, but I mean, really, you're looking through that game. You're going to start your studs. You're going to, Madison. You hold your nose and start him because it's the Eagles are not great, not terrible in defense so far, right?
yeah, I mean, at this point in the season, on his second week, probably drafted him rather high to be a starting running back. You got to give him another shot, unless you got a legit. I don't know. Probably don't have a better option or an option that you trust enough. But yeah, week 2, you're still rolling him out there.
Okay, we're going to the Sunday 1 o'clock games. Packers versus the Falcons. We have Jordan Love. Is Jordan Love a QB1 versus the
Until
Falcons?
until further notice, I'm on the Love train here. I mean, yeah, let's go, Jordan Love. I'm gonna ride till it runs off the track.
And I will ride that train as long as he throws it to my boy, oh Romeo, oh Romeo. I love that. I
Yeah,
saw those touchdowns. I was dancing happy as a pig in mud. This is going to be a battle of interesting running back committees. Aaron Jones, keep an eye on him. Right now, he's what? He's a hammy, I believe. Aaron's the
yeah,
hammy. Yeah, he's the hammy, the
yep.
ankle. Yeah. So Aaron's got the hammy. That means you might get AJ Dillon, who didn't get diddly squat last week. And then you got the power backfield in Atlanta. That's you. Are you starting Algier this week? You have to on that
Well,
team because it's not that good. But is everybody else?
I don't know. I, I think you have a better option than Algier. I mean, it's tempting because you know they're going to run so much. And like I said, I don't know if they want to just go out here and give Bijan 25 carries a game. I think they're going to run so much that both of these guys can be viable. But it's whether or not they score touchdowns. I would be kind of scared to start Algier unless I absolutely had to.
Yeah,
But
Bijan was really
I
good too.
mean, I have to in a league. So yeah, I'm going to support him 100%, my friends.
I mean, the real question is a combo here. Desmond Ritter over or under 18 passes attempts.
Uh, I think they'll be under. I mean, well, I think yeah, maybe under or around that 17, 18, 19. I think it stays right. I think it stays right there.
And my buy low candidate this week was Drake London because he can't get worse. Drake London over or under 0.5 fantasy points this week.
I think he
Barely.
breaks. Think he breaks the ice here and gets his first fantasy point this week.
I sure, man. That's just crazy to think. Like, man, that if you can get him, I would buy him. The talent is there. I think he'll be worth it for
I
wide receiver
I
three
don't
flex
understand how
spot.
you just don't force it to him here and there. I don't
Yeah,
know.
what we did last year. If you look at that's what I wrote in my article for that the buy lows is if you look at the end of last year, he was getting between 8 and 12 targets every week to close out the year, and it's did Ritter forget how good he was? Hopefully he didn't, and it was just an anomaly.
But
We'll see what
but
goes
they
on.
just weren't thrown to the wide receivers evidently. I mean, Bijan got his targets, Kyle Pitts got a few targets, and by the time you got both of those targets together, I mean, there's only like 4 targets left. I think Algier got 2 targets. So I
Pitts
mean,
got
it's
yeah.
not a lot there.
And you never would have thought you'd hear this. The 1-0 first place Raiders versus the last place 0-1 Buffalo Bills. Who has more fantasy points this week, Jimmy Garoppolo or Josh Allen?
I'm
It's
still going to go Josh
all
Allen. I
historical
still got
question.
more confidence in Josh Allen than I got in Jimmy Garoppolo, who's still may not finish this game. So yeah, I think Josh Allen is better than his very
A
bad
real
game
viable
Monday.
question. If we're looking at a QB3 or a flex, you got Jacoby Myers or Gabe Davis. Jacoby Myers had a good week, but we don't know about concussion protocol, what he's in, but he still has Jimmy Garoppolo. Gabe Davis has Josh Allen, who's a better quarterback, and the talent is there. If you had to throw one of those into your flex, are you riding the Myers train or going with our Gabe Davis love?
I mean, I think I'm going Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers has been a good receiver his whole career. He's just been stuck in New England where there just wasn't a great offensive scheme to get him the ball and touchdowns, but he's always been productive. Gabe Davis, on the other hand, he's so up and down. And I didn't even know he was playing on Monday night. Deontay Hardy was getting all the targets. I didn't even know Gabe Davis was alive. So yeah, I think Jacoby Myers is better than most people think, and I'm definitely going Myers here if he's playing. I mean, he got brutally hit, so I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I
That was
think
bad.
Jacoby Myers is the real deal.
Is Deontay Hardy a pickup?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. They paid him decent for what he's gonna do. They
I
paid him basically to get the that third receiver slot kind of thing, and his speed receiver. Okay. We're going to the Ravens versus the Bengals. Which quarterback is more likely to repeat what he did last week? Lamar
oh,
Jackson or Joe Million Dollar Burrow?
that's a good question. I'm going to go Lamar Jackson just because his throwing is sporadic, and you can't necessarily trust the run game. I mean, yeah, there's the threat of
He
the
is the
run.
run game.
Yeah, the threat of him running is there, but it's not 100% sure whether or not he's going to get it. What is 100% sure is Joe Burrow is going to throw the ball a lot, most likely, and it's
Mhm.
most likely not going to repeat what he did last week. So I'd go Lamar Jackson is a better option to repeat, but I don't see it.
Combo to the last game. T. Higgins or Drake London, who has a better week?
I'm going to go T. Higgins because Desmond Ritter is going to throw the ball 12 times.
Seahawks and the Lions, also a 1 o'clock game. Lions 1-0. They took out the defending champs. They're my bandwagon team of the year. Our bandwagon teams are both 1-0, by the way.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown a top 5 receiver this week? Maybe even close to top 1 because they made Puka Nakua and Tutu Atwell look like the greatest show on turf.
I don't know if you can put him in top 5 yet. I mean, I like Amon-Ra
Tyreek,
St. Brown,
those two.
but maybe eventually if he keeps performing, but it's just hard for me to see him as a top 5 receiver. Top 10 receiver. I mean,
Yeah, he's that for
absolutely.
sure. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
100%.
he's definitely earned that. I hate to say that he's definitely earned, all this, but yeah, I would just
So
not
good.
yet. I mean, he's close, super close.
I
Love this guy.
love him.
I love this
Uh,
guy.
is Gino gonna be good this year, or was that an anomaly?
Was Gino ever good? I mean, I don't.
Last year, Gino got some people some super flex wins. So
I can't. I'm not on board with Gino. He's right. Gino is right there in the company of Jimmy Garoppolo, Ryan Tannehill. He's riding that bus for me. So I'm not a fan of Gino.
wow, I didn't know. I'm not a big fan of Gino, but I'll throw him in there. Okay, rookie quarterback battle: the 0-1 Colts versus the 0-1 Texans. This could be an ugly, ugly game with two teams that are probably going to be in the top 5 picks next year. One of them not even having their own top 5 pick, so they have no incentive to lose. What pause? Who would you play in these games? Because Pierce looked terrible. Nico Collins looked good. Stroud had yards. Richardson looked decent, and their running backs looked terrible. Moss is coming back. Michael Pittman looks stellar.
I mean, yeah.
Who do you
I
think
guess
on?
I mean, I guess you're probably still starting Damian Pierce at this point. I mean, I don't think you can bail on him this early. So I think you're still starting him. Definitely starting Michael Pittman. Other than that, the QB2, Anthony Richardson. Are you starting him? Probably after last week. Why not ride? Why not ride that? Especially
Running quarterback.
in a super flex league. I mean, you got to start him. Other than that, Colts running game, I don't even know who's going to be. So it's tough. As CJ Stroud, probably not. You're probably super scared to start him, but some people don't have any options. Um, Houston wide receivers, probably not. I mean, that's a struggle bus right
Nico
there.
there might be something coming there. We'll see what's brewing.
I mean, we'll see.
The game of the week for me, my Dolphins play nighttime, so this is probably the game I'm watching it at 1 o'clock is Chiefs and Jags. That should be a pretty stellar game. So you start who you start. Which you have to start one Chiefs receiver, and Kelsey should be back, so that's going to minimize the Chiefs receiver. But you have a flex, and you got to start one of the receivers. Who you throwing in there?
I'm going to go Rasheed Rice. I mean, why not? I mean, he's the only one that performed well. All the other ones stunk. I'm not. I'm not going to go Kadarius Toney. He can't even catch the
He's going to
ball.
bounce back and score 200 points. You know
I
that,
mean,
right?
it's very possible, but I'm pretty sure everybody has the same feelings about. I bet they feel dirty putting Kadarius Toney in there. I think he's still going to get options. Sky Moore, I guess he played maybe. I
MBS.
mean, I know Rasheed Rice got that touchdown, but he performed. He got the that first crack of show me what you can do, and I might just throw him back out there.
Okay, I think it's gonna be a fun game to watch. Bears versus the Bucks. Does Baker have more fantasy points? It's gonna make you sick to think of.
I'm not even going to entertain this question. If you, but go ahead. Go ahead. Anyway, I'll let you.
Justin Fields wasn't as terrible as I looked back. He wasn't as terrible as we really put him out to be Sunday, but he wasn't what we expected. Baker put up some points. How close could these guys be in fantasy scoring points in this game? Because the Bears are not great.
Well, I mean, if we're just talking about running here and Justin Fields ain't, or passing here, and Justin Fields ain't running the ball like he didn't on this past week, I think it's rather close because he's not going to throw. I mean, if he's not going to rush for 100 yards or a touchdown or whatever, I mean, the numbers will be close. I mean, I would say Baker Mayfield, I don't want to say is relatively a decent passer, maybe, I guess, but
He's
Justin
got so
Fields,
many weapons. It's hard to be
he,
bad, you know.
he relies on his legs, and that's where everybody expects him to get his points from. So if he's not running, I think it could be rather close.
Something crazy to think. The Chargers and Titans, one of these teams is going to be 0-2. Titans are they're like that team that's good, even though they look terrible on paper. Chargers are coming in. The Titans have a problem at moving the football forward by anybody who's not named Derrick Henry. And ironically, did you know that Tajay Spears had more
Oh, I do know that.
snaps
Oh,
than
yes, I
Derrick
do.
Henry?
I do
Is
know that.
Taj is that just a weird way the week fell because they had to pass so much, or is Tajay Spears someone you should stash deep on your bench and pray
I
Derek,
mean,
don't pray for injuries, but to have in case.
if I'm not wrong, didn't Derrick Henry do rather decent in the passing game this past week? I
He
think
did fine. Derrick Henry had a fine week, but he was just
had good
outsnapped.
receiving numbers, but Tajay Spears was in the game, but he wasn't getting the ball. So
Hmm.
I think they're going to bring him along slowly. I think he's going to earn more opportunity week by week as long as he keeps proving himself. I guess the fact that he's in there so much, I think they got faith in him. So I mean, maybe they mix in a run here, a run there, see what happens. But as far as being able to it's still tough. I mean, I think it's still Derrick Henry's backfield by far, but I think Tajay Spears could be sneaky late, maybe.
These 4 o'clock games are terrible, by the way. So we're hitting the 4 o'clock games now. Giants and Cardinals. Do we even care? Like, like,
I care about Josh Dobbs. Let's go, Josh Dobbs.
yeah, Josh Dobbs looked pretty terrible.
He
Um,
did.
the whole team looked terrible, and then
Hey, yeah, it was bad.
uh, my boy Isaiah Hodgins looked nothing. Saquon. I mean, I have a feeling that the Giants are going to bounce back. They can't be that bad. Cowboys defense could be that good. I have a feeling the Giants could
I
bounce
think the
back.
Giants are better than what they are. I could be
They're not as
wrong,
good as
but
last year, but not as bad as last week.
yeah, I don't think anybody could be as bad as last
That was
week.
terrible. It just started bad, and when that snowball rolls, it keeps rolling. So another terrible game in the afternoon. The 49ers at the Rams. They're going to clobber them too, right?
I mean, maybe. I mean, say some crazy things happen when these teams play. 49ers, for some reason, they can be very heckle. What is it? Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, Jekyll and
Jekyll and Hyde,
Hyde.
yeah.
It took me a second. It can be kind of Jekyll and Hyde sometimes, what you're expecting, because they know each other so well. I mean, McVay and Shanahan, grew up in football together. So I feel like they know what each other's going to do. So it's easier to game plan for. They run like the same style offense, kind of. I mean, it's come from that same tree, but not. But like I said, they know each other so well. I think it's easier to game plan and more competitive game than one may think.
Cam Akers. Is he an RB2 in this game, or are
I
you
don't even
pushing
know
him
if
to
you could
RB3?
start any running back on the Rams. I mean,
Okay, that
that
that was
40.
more my question because I think I got to start him somewhere, but it scares the crap
I
out of
mean,
me.
you probably gotta start Cam Akers, but I am dreading every moment of it because I don't see him getting a lot of yards. Hopefully, he falls into the end zone, but it's going to be tough sledding. That defense is
Oh, well,
awesome.
speaking of another game, the Jets and Cowboys. which kicker are you going to start? 12-9 game. Those defenses are so good.
Yeah, those defenses are good, and you got Zach Wilson coming in facing. Oh, that could be real, real bad. Dak Prescott, really not that impressive either. I mean,
Is Tony Pollard an RB? I almost put him as my bust for the week because he's like RB 6 or 7 currently or something like that. And to think he's going up against the Jets, who, as much as I love the Jets, their defense is good. Could he be a risk? He's not a DFS guy. I wouldn't start him in DFS. I mean, if you got him, you got to start him. But what's the level of worry on Tony Pollard versus the Jets?
I
I
mean,
don't
I
care
don't
about the kickers.
see.
That was a joke, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't see Tony Pollard as a top 12, but I mean, I'm still expecting Tony Pollard to be in top
involved.
24. I mean, that's
Yeah.
my expectations. I mean, if he doesn't do that, I'll be highly disappointed. But if he's not getting the RB1 numbers, I also understand because I'm going into the game knowing like the Jets played fantastic. That defense may be really good. So I mean, I maybe got to lower my expectations a little bit when this kind of stuff happens.
Oh, you're 1-0 Manders versus the 0-1 Broncos. The Manders going 2-0.
Damn right they are. Um, like I don't like I said, I didn't get to watch either one of these game teams last week. I don't think either one of them were very impressive. So I
It was
mean,
flat.
yeah. So I really don't know what to expect. Like I'm rooting for the Commanders. You know, Howe and Dotson. I'm not really rooting much as far as the Broncos go, except for my boy Troutman. You know, wheels up on
Javante,
Troutman.
baby. Javante is my
Yeah,
boy.
yeah,
He's
maybe,
gonna
but I'm
build
not.
not this week, but Javante's got to. He what didn't he looked okay, but
I mean, this
just
game may
better.
not be great, but I mean, I'll tune in. Well, I don't know,
It's
but
4 o'clock game. The other ones are terrible. And then the game of the week, the most important game, the only game that you really need to care about is the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. Can New England slow down Tyreek and Tua?
I mean, probably. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? They always say Bill Belichick takes away your best option. Well, we're going to see if Bill Belichick can take away your best option because there's no
Okay.
doubt. There's no doubt who the number one option is.
Easy E. It's gonna be
So
Easy E's taking over this week for the Dolphins. Ezekiel he's
I,
he
I,
was getting the number 3 looks though. That was interesting until Barrios came in towards the end.
yeah,
Um,
I mean that's it's tough, but I mean I expect to have a good game. I don't expect to have what he did last week, but
how big a fool's gold is Mac Jones against Xavier Howard, Javon Holland?
I mean, like I said,
That
I'm still not on board with Mac Jones. But if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I got to start Mac Jones," I mean, "Hey, brother, you got to do what you got to do, my friend." I mean, I'm starting Josh Dobbs somewhere, bud.
And shockingly, I forgot about this. I didn't pay attention. There's 2 Monday night games this week. They are
All
just
right.
stellar games that everybody's going to want to see. The Saints and the Panthers. So Rashid Shaheed's the man now, right?
Heck yeah, he is. That
There's
offense.
3 viable options for the Saints.
Olave looked good. Michael Thomas caught a few balls, so I mean, he was out there and he didn't get injured. So I mean, he's playing.
No.
Rashid Shaheed's out there, but still like continuing what he did last year. I mean, this is a
Oh yeah.
continuation. So I don't know if you can really see it as a fluke, right? Kind of like the way we treat Brock Purdy.
Hey, I'm a Shaheed man. I'm not the one to
I,
tell.
I know. I mean, we're all coming around. I mean, like it started last year. He's continuing. So I mean, why not continue doing Rashid? However you say it. Yeah, keep
Rashid
putting him out there.
Shaheed, baby.
Yep.
Hayden Hurst, could he be a top eight tight end this year, being as it looks like he's a safety valve for Bryce Young?
Man, anybody can be a top 8 tight end, my man. But absolutely, I mean, if he's going to go out there and be the number one receiving option, even in a low-powered offense, I mean, a young quarterback's best friend can be a tight end, and Hayden Hurst has proved to be a decent tight end over the years. So, I mean, I feel like he's a pretty reliable character. So, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see a world where this happens, as much as I hate to say it.
Monday night, last game. Browns versus Steelers. The mighty, mighty Bengal killing Browns versus the murdered by the 49ers Steelers. Najee Harris getting the touches. Joe Mixon he wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible. Could the Najee be really the only Steeler you're confident in at this moment?
I mean, I don't even know if I'm
I mean,
starting
as of
confident
the
with
Steelers.
Najee, considering the Browns defense is pretty good. I mean, you got Myles Garrett coming in this week. What a rough start for the Steelers going up against 49ers defense, having to turn around and go against the Cleveland Browns defense. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be scared if I was rooting for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, and and
They're
the
winning.
Browns defense coming in there. Like I said, I'm still rooting for Pickett. I'm still rooting for Harris to make something happen. You probably still starting Harris either way, but I'm not, like I said, this has been uh, a show of not confidence at all. I'm not. It's
Yeah, this
not
week, my
confident.
buddy was talking about like who he's gonna start and pick for like picks and things like a survivor pool. This is a tough, nasty week to pick him for. So,
Yeah, it's
well,
not
JJ
fun.
Wang, that's week 2. We'll pop some stuff. I have some stuff up on Facebook if you have questions throughout the weekend. Everybody, Facebook Live, noon Eastern time. Give us some words of wisdom to help us survive week 2. And some people need that boost. Some people need to be brought back down to earth. Help us out, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest thing for week one, I think everybody says it as much as we all like to do it. Like, just don't overreact with it, right? I love to overreact. We all love to do it. But I think that first 3 weeks you kind of got to like play, just let it play out to see who's really good and who's not. I think after game 4, you can kind of see where it's going. But don't do random things. Like, I mean, one loss in the beginning of the season won't kill you, but that one stupid move could make you lose, and then you're out one game of the playoffs, and you're like, what if? So just what if you just
What if Tyler
start your
Algier didn't
normal
score 2
guys for
touchdowns
the
week 1?
yeah, what if he does? So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.